In the first, my first life, I was a chef. Then I was in the police for a good few years, and then came the swimming teaching. Basically, a friend of mine, who I regularly blame for getting me into this mess, um, she used to teach my kids swimming, and she wanted to start her own swim school. She taught my kids at the local leisure centre. She wanted to start her own swim school, but none of the other teachers, none of her other swim teacher friends you know, would say yes or no, would not confirm either way. And we were at a local, well-known coffee shop, and she was just getting so frustrated. Why won't they come on board? Just let me know, yes or no, let me know where I stand. And she was like, well, it's that easy. You could do it. No, 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 I couldn't do that. Yes, you can. So by the end of that lovely coffee, I was booked onto a swim teacher's course. That was in the January. This course started in the March. And then by April, I was teaching with her. And it was like one of those really surreal experiences that, my first lesson, there's like these little kids and there's me, and I'm like, how did this actually happen? But yeah, that was the beginning of it, really.
I think a lot of people, whether they have a swimming background or not, have the similar story of I looked up and there's kids in a pool. I looked up and there's people calling me for swim lessons. I looked up and I'm in more than one pool. And if I understand correctly, Joe, not only did you build that swim program, you built the Swim England, and it earned the Swim England Swim School of the Year several times. Is that correct?
Twice. Not
Twice.
we won it once, and we were third the following year.
Fair. Okay.
But
And how does something like that occur? And then share with us that transition to the aquaphobia work.
well, I was working with my friend who I set up her swim school with her, and then I began working with another swim school. It was like one swim school out, another swim school into the pool that we hired. And I'd been working with this other swim school for a few years, and I knew that the owners wanted to retire. So, they showed me all the beginnings and the ins and outs of the business, the not just the fun part in the pool, the backstage in the office. And it was, because I would then stand in for them because these guys had never had a holiday for years. And so I was able to, well, if I knew all parts of the business, go away, have a holiday, you deserve it. Um, so then I bought the swim school from them, and there was lots of things that for me, with my life experiences, I needed to change and do better. For starters, things that I changed, health and safety, risk
Hmm.
assessing. Um, it needed to be a lot more professional, which was they were a lovely family business. And yes, my kids joined me in teaching and stuff later on as well. But being a nice person doesn't stop you having accidents. Being a nice person
Hmm.
doesn't make you professional. There's so many rules and regulations and everything that you have to adhere to. It's not I think I'll choose numbers one, three, and five. No, that's not how it happens. You have to be professional, you have to be legal, and in the event of anything happening, you have to be seen to have done your very, very best to look after everybody. So
Absolutely.
yeah, there was lots of things. So I instigated, well, basically, there's a swim school health and safety award, which hands down is the best course I've ever done. Through all my lives, my catering, the police force, various different courses, it was brilliant. It it is devised by a couple of people from the RLSS, the Royal Lifesaving Society, and it taught you everything, helped guide you through the process. I was fortunate. I had a huge background in risk assessment. I worked with people in domestic abuse and stuff like that. So obviously I was coming to as, yes, I had to protect the police's backside and make sure they were doing things professionally and stuff like that. But as well, I had to make sure that predominantly my ladies, the victims of abuse were being looked after as well. So all that, it really resonated with me.
You had a
Um,
different understanding of an operation versus somebody who maybe just sees a pool and sees chemicals. You maybe saw it all. And if you would talk to us about how you got that mindset got you into aquaphobia and the whole background of the institute and Mike Berman. Go ahead, Nicole. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at what point did you move it from just wanting to run swim lessons? Because I think a lot of people here in the States, they don't differentiate the difference between swimming lessons and that there's actually a fear of swimming. And a lot of people are all excited about, yes, we want to learn to swim, and yes, I want to sign up, and then they don't show up. And I think it's because the schools or the teachers don't realize that the disconnect is just because they want to. There's that fear holding them back. And if they understood that, they could approach it differently. So I know when did you make that connection and think about the fear of the water and not just this is a swimming lesson? Like, when did that connection happen?
well, it's something that I hadn't even realised. So it's not. I'm not the founder of Aquaphobia, or the Institute of Aquaphobia. My colleague, as Wes just said, Mike Berman,
Hmm.
he was a level 3 coach in London, in Barnet in London. He had his own swim school for about 30 odd years, which makes him just over 21, see. Um, and he he was already seeing people with fear from different ethnic backgrounds and how they responded to the water, even bringing their children to the water, to the pool. And he devised this program that is a 12-step program that worked. And it gradually, through careful exposure to the water and in a certain way, it worked, and it helped people get through that fear. Um, Obviously then, so he knew it worked, but to get industry backing, but I think also for his own personal knowledge, he wanted to know why it worked. So he went and he did work with Dr. Ali Barrow, who is in robotics and stuff like that in Germany, in Marburg in Germany, and lot of work with the University of Chichester down on our south coast, and a wonderful doctor, Dr. Jenny Smith, who we still connect with and do work with. And there's a process that they have to go through, and I think I won't say above my pay grade, but it's I operate here, and that's kind of up there. And there's a prescribed way they go through it. They'll manage to get the statistics that we lead off of. They get a group of people together, they ask them certain questions, and they have to ask, I think they call them test subjects or
There's a very
something like
formal
that.
process, right? That
Absolutely.
and to help the audience understand, unlike in the States where you can just start a swim school and you can say it's swim school, this has really become an institute of aquaphobia because of the medical background, the government background, the clinical background. And Joe, could you talk a little bit about, if I understand the program correctly, if somebody wants to uh, be a participant in the program, their first conversation isn't even near water, correct? When they connect with an instructor, like the system Mike has built, the 12 steps really start with an engagement away from water. It starts with a coffee shop. It starts with an analysis or a survey, even, if I understand correctly, to help the participant just understand where they are mentally about the fear of water and the fear of swimming. Is that right?
Right, so you're talking about the person who's going to undertake those aquaphobia lessons
Right. The audience
themselves.
that's listening today, we all know there are people we know that are afraid of water. I have
Mm,
one of my best friends, a former Chicago cop. His son learns how to swim, but he doesn't. Right. And
mm,
so I
yeah.
wanted you to potentially explain to the audience listening that this isn't just we know you're afraid of swimming, let's put you in the water. This is a
Mm,
real invested, thorough program that
mm.
helps not only the instructor but also the participant gradually and systematically prepare their brain for the water experience.
Absolutely. Well, what would happen is once they find an aquaphobia coach, the coach then asks, it's done in the format in the ideal world of an interview. Not as we're doing, but yeah, not as serious as this.
Okay.
Um, okay. And they ask, and the coach has to ask the client a series, there's 25 questions, and they're the same questions, obviously, to every time. So this is how we know this system works. And this is all that was involved with the University of Chichester and the work. And basically, these certain questions like how do you feel when you see a patch of water or pool or anything from 20 meters away? And then there's prescribed responses. You can either have you'd avoid it and you score it differently up to, or rather down to, yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that. Or how can you take 1 foot off the floor in a pool or something like that. So just to gauge all these how all these questions to gauge how that individual person, how aquaphobic they are.
There you go. Right. Just like a
And
physical assessment score or a fitness evaluation, but for the fear of water. Keep going. Yeah, please.
yeah, so 25 questions, four different responses. Hey ho, you've 25 times four is 100. You're going to get a percentage. Now we find basically the higher a percentage an aquaphobic person gets in this interview, it means the more support they're going to require in the water. So you're looking at more at one-to-ones rather than group lessons or anything like that. And
Oh,
we can also tell that roughly 50, 60% and under is like lack of education
Okay. So
that they,
other underlying factors.
yeah, absolutely. They might not have had lessons for whatever reason, geographical reasons, or parents might not have been able to afford it. There's so many different reasons. But then you go to the other end of the scale, 60% and above, it's more something personal. They've either had something horrible happen to them, they've witnessed something, or a family member. So therefore they are, it is so personal. It's in there and
It's an
it's
ingrained
in the
memory, right?
heart.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because what it works on is aquaphobia is a fear, it's a phobia. And we then come into like the human emotions.
mhm.
We've all got six primary emotions that hail from the year dot, when we were saying that if you didn't have fear back in, say, caveman days, you might probably get eaten by a dinosaur. You have to have that little bit of your fear is your protection, is your protective barrier that you put around yourself. So in essence, it can be a good thing, but if it's how that fear has happened and then how you go on to either deal with that fear or avoid it, if you stay from away from the water, avoiding it, then that affects us all differently,
Mhm.
because we can all have the same, for the three of us, we could all have the same situation happen to us, you know, absolutely the same thing. But because
Hmm.
we're different people inside, our own experience, our own translated experience of that. It's going to be different for each of us, and
And
it's fascinating.
But I think one of the things that I love about the system, and we probably won't get into details as much as we'd like to today, but if you're interested, definitely connect with us and Joe on Institute of Aquaphobia, because again, you're able to measure it. I think in the United States and in a lot of the swim programs, we say we're going to teach adults. We say we're going to have adult learn to swim. We say we're going to have adult water classes. What we don't say is how we can quantify what the person is telling us, what those experiences are doing, and how they're impacting that adult's or child's, but adult's ability to get in the water, to put their face in, to float,
Yeah.
where we just have swim lessons or we try to bridge the gap. And I think you've done a great job of measuring, right? There's an old saying, manage what you measure what you manage. And I think you guys have gotten really good at identifying clinical aspects of saying, this is how the scale is tipped here, this is where the scale is tipped here, and then putting in structure in place to build the support chain out wherever the client is. And so again, it's just a very deliberate clinical way of addressing that phobia, because like you said, it is a real phobia.
So I have a question for you, Joe, and I want your since you're across the pond, I want to hear your take on this or your feelings. Because I first heard this, and I'm a mom, and I can swim, but I did have an incident when I was little, and I fell into the pool when I wasn't supposed to be swimming, and I was rescued, and then I learned to swim. It was a while after the incident because they did try to put me in, but it was too close to the traumatic event that I wasn't ready, so we did have to wait. But I run a swim school, and I am shocked by the amount of parents that can't swim. So in the beginning, I was shocked that I'm like, well, why? Because I can swim. So I'm shocked that you would let your child learn and not educate yourself. And now I've heard it so many times, I'm just not shocked anymore. And I get that because they can't swim, they want their kids to learn. But I was wondering if this is something that you face over there, or if you guys, are you shocked to hear that that's a thing here, or does that happen to you guys over there? Do parents not know and their kids do, or is that just something I face?
No, I've had that as well.
Okay.
You can Parents who can't swim, they know that it's so important that their children should be able to swim. And generationally, the grandparents, they didn't learn to swim. They might not have lived near the water. It wasn't a priority for them. And that's come down through the generations. But now we call it a motivation to participation. It's all words, isn't it? So wordy. Um, and those grandparents, they might want to take the grandchildren away for a weekend to the beach or somewhere like that, go on family holidays. It's the ideal, isn't it? The sunset on the beach with your grandchildren and everything like that. And it's what motivates people to do that. And yeah, so for the passes on to the children as well. It's not uncommon at all. You'll have one of the parents or carers will bring the child every week, and this child will be absolutely fine. Then one week, you're like, you've brought a different child this week, I'm sure you have, because this child is clinging and screaming, doesn't want to let go of the parent, and and to pry them away from the changing room doors. And then you find out it's a different parent that's brought them, a different
Mm-hmm,
person. And
mm-hmm,
that person invariably doesn't like the water.
The
yeah.
psychology. This is so, and we
Yeah.
had Andy Graham on from Medical Fitness, and
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
ringing so many bells from the similarity behind the mental approach to the first question you asked in the survey, right? Is how do you feel when you see water? Whereas again, not stereotyping everybody in the United States, most of our aquatic lessons begin on the pool deck. And if you have a fear of water, to Nicole's point when we started this discussion, you're
Yeah.
not even going to go in the locker room. How do you feel about putting on a swimsuit? So these feelings are something that, again, we often miss out on. And then bridging the gap from that as an instructor. Joe, would you mind talking about that process? Because as an instructor, you have to be attuned to these things, trained on these things, and by the way, know how to teach swim lessons too.
Yeah.
Talk to the audience a little bit about what it takes to be a coach or an aquaphobic angel, if you will.
I've been called many things in my time, but never an angel.
Nicole puts it in the script, so I say it.
No, all right, okay, all right. I'm an angel. As aquaphobia coaches, we are trained that again, it's the psychology and the emotional side of things for the client. For us, if we were going swimming, we wouldn't think twice about it. We'd wag up to the pool, get changed, cosy on in the water, job done. No. For an aquaphobic person, their fear, their having to deal with this comes from at home, even before they've even had sight of the water. They know that, okay, the alarm's gone on their phone, right, I've got to get ready for this ordeal I'm going to be putting myself through. And then they've got to get all their swimming kit together. Oh, where's my swim bag? So all this, it's all stresses, it's little layers of stress that they're bringing with them. And then it's the drive to the pool. There's going to be traffic, and the mind's going to be thinking about, oh God, if I'm late, you get all the what ifs, and what ifs are horrible things, but it's all compounded. We've got the stress of the getting ready, the getting there, getting to the pool, and then in the car park, I don't know if you've had it, but something that we found is the actual smell of the chlorine coming through
Bingo.
the vents, the extractor vents into the
That
like
olfactory
the car
sensory
park
hits
area.
hard.
Yeah, we've had a person, they turned up to a centre for aquaphobia lessons 7 times before they even got out the car.
I
And
don't
then your
mean to
coach is,
interrupt.
oh yeah,
Smells are bigger, and I don't know if there's any research on this, but
it's
smells
true.
are such a big trigger when you were talking about the senses. So I'm not surprised at all that that person came
Yeah,
7 times and left, because that is a huge trigger to overcome.
And
yeah,
imagine your coach is then standing at the door all shiny and happy. Hey, let's have our swim lesson today. But that's not what aquaphobia coaches do, right? But that's what we do, Nicole, when we teach some lessons. Hey, let's have a great
Yeah.
day today. Happy to be here, Mrs.
yeah,
Smith or Mr. Jones. And like, wait a minute, I'm lucky to be alive right now. And like, let's hop in and do our dips. But there's a
yeah,
different approach to this and understanding where the client's coming from.
yeah. It's huge. I mean, let's not forget a person could have been, a client could be, have been carrying this fear with them for 40, 50
Yeah.
years, and
And then they smell chlorine.
and, and they feel it's, they're stigmatized. Oh, it's only me. I'm frightened of what I'm going to look like. Other people in the pool are going to be looking at me. Um, but again, the emotions we're talking about and the senses, they're all linked. It's what you can see. You can see people. We might look in through the glass at a swimming pool, seeing lessons or just play sessions taking place. For us, that'll be, oh yeah, they're having a great time. There's splashing, there's people jumping in. However, that's how we might see it, but an aquaphobic person will be, oh my God, they're screaming. Oh no, they've jumped in, they've
All
gone into
right.
water.
What
Oh
are they
my
seeing? What's
goodness.
their perspective? Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And plus as well, if you think about leisure centres, um, all the posters and everything like that out the front, they're like happy, smiley kids, but they're underwater already. They've got bubbles and giving it hi.
Mhm.
But for that aquaphobic person, it's, oh my God, if that was my child, oh my God. And it's a totally different mindset, totally different.
I think one of the things too that I've been impressed by your program and just learning about you and Mike and Nicole too is, and maybe this is an international thing, but the willingness for the clientele and the student will to just open up and to take the survey, to be vulnerable. In the States, you can call it macho construction guy, you can call it whatever you want, but I believe there is a phobia of being phobia, right? There is a stigma of saying I'm afraid. And I think you guys have really done a great job of breaking down that wall, making it okay. You call it a leisure center, we call it a crazy
Mm.
YMCA or a JCC. But making it a comfortable environment, just like somebody starting their fitness
Mhm.
journey, walking into an office and saying, I don't know where to begin. The same thing
Yeah,
here is let's have coffee. Do it over email. You don't have to
yeah.
stand on a pool deck in your skivvies nervous on your first day. And so I think you've done a really good job. And it happens here in the States too. I think you guys are in Texas, I think. But saying, let's just talk, having webinars, having educational sessions, having coffee shop talks in an environment that is comfortable where no one is going to know you're talking about that you're afraid of water. You could be talking about the book club. But
Yeah.
again, you guys create these pathways that make it okay to say, I don't know how to swim and I'm blank age or blank sex or blank grandparent. And you put it those people in those positions to be comfortable. And I think that's something that at least I can learn from, and I think the states can learn from.
Yeah, the whole process itself, yes, in an ideal, we talk about the ideal world. The ideal world, you're going to meet your client in the coffee shop, so you're nowhere near the water, um, and then just get to talking and have a chat. That's the ideal world.
Right, right,
But it's it's really good that you've got this, the what I said about the percentage, the PAR, it's personal ability range. If we get someone we don't really know anything about them, but I've got someone that's coming in at like 83%,
love the
um,
numbers.
it's I know that that person is going to have issues. So I'll make sure my lifeguards on poolside are aware,
I like
the
that.
pool supervisors aware that if they come out of the changing rooms, we need to make sure they don't just bimble around and go wandering up around the deep end. It has to be a whole team effort. They need to be directed. Tell them what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's how little things like telling them how the lockers work, where you can park, you walk around here, follow the path, and just so you're taking away that bit of worry for them.
Every step counts because it's not like you said, it's not a child going to their 6-year-old swim lesson, or it's not somebody who's just swimming in masters. It's somebody who is really on a new journey, but they also know that it's important. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's not swimming lessons. It's
Right.
basically what we're doing. We underpin the core aquatic skills. So what we come first, what we do comes before any swimming strokes or anything like
Right.
that. Your breathing, your safe entries. And it's not just telling them you got to do it this way. It's like, well, why? Why
Right.
are you going to let yourself into the pool slowly? Well, so
Mm-hmm.
you need to be in control of it. You know, there's so many things. It's about taking a bit of a step back, doing it slower, calmer, and respectfully. But the great thing about this is it's not just people think it's an aquaphobia learners program. It's not just for people with aquaphobia, because those skills of about breathing into the water, your aquatic breathing, your buoyancy, rotations, all that sort of thing. Because we really, really break those down. How many children have you seen that don't want to put their face in the water?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now you can see things from our program will help with that. So I think the well-known phrase is we have transferable skills.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you
We do.
go.
So
We do.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
let me ask you a question, and I'm kind of going to take it back to the beginning. We were there, and you were talking about your swim school, and then Wes got us onto this topic. So
yeah, you
you,
interrupted.
he did. He's really good at that. We should get him an award. So you built your swim school, and was it Swim England Swim School?
Swim England, Swim School of the Year.
Okay, and you
Oh,
reached that again in 2023?
Yeah, the
top
following
three,
year
right?
we were third.
Beautiful. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us the behind the scenes, because we have lots of listeners, how did you reach that level? Is it your safety? Is it that you took it more and higher like you were kind of going into?
Um, it was an awful lot of what we have spoken about, risk assessment, health and safety, follow the Health and Safety at Work Act, and everything has to be documented as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mammoth task. So, whilst it was an awful lot of me doing the work, I mean, I'm the spreadsheet queen. If something needs to be done, it's going to go on my spreadsheet and it'll get done. There'll be a process I'll have for working through it. But I did things from taking ownership of it, really. Like someone has to be responsible, and it's my responsibility to ensure that my teachers are trained, that they've got insurance, they've got a teachers rescue award of some sort, that they undertake regular training. Sometimes even now, and it makes me cringe, I hear that, oh, such and such of a certain age is teaching. Well, how can you be? In England, you have to be at least 16 to be able to be a swimming teacher.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Plus
but
trade.
even yeah, but even then, there's younger children that have gone through the competitive swimming
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And yes, there is this uh, prior recognition of learning as well, that counts as experience. But a person needs to have a qualification or a certification to comply with their insurance as well,
Right.
to make sure it is safe, above board, and legal. Um, it's like driving a car. Just because your mum sat with you for the past 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
she thinks you're okay to do it, but you have to have done a test. And it's no different to that. No different to that. We want to put ourselves forward as a professional body in it's not just teaching swimming, it's saving lives, water safety, drowning prevention. Um, and I don't think you can make things too safe.
Never.
That's probably why you won the award for saying, not you did, but again, for our audience, the statement of you can't make things too safe is global. And again, Joe,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to follow up and dig deeper, dive deeper on the Institute and your own personal background, and this being the third layer of your life. There's just so many fascinating things. For the sake of time, I just want to say thank you so much, but also really want our audience to understand that how you go about and your organization goes about the approach, I think is something we should all pay attention to. We can all teach adults to swim. Can we get the adults and children that are afraid to come into our pool to even show
Mhm.
up to learn to teach them how to swim? And I think that's just a great approach you guys have. And you're
Mhm.
spot on. You can't be too safe. And so I just want to thank you so much for being here and hope our audience does follow up and does dive into this subject because I think it's something that 41% of
Yeah.
adults in this country can't swim, and there's a reason
Mhm.
for it. So thank you so much for being here, and yeah, Nicole, I'll let you tie a bow on it.
Absolutely, Joe. We really appreciate you being here with us today, and we didn't have a lot of time, so maybe we can have you back in the future because I think there's a lot more
Yes.
you could
Yeah.
share. Yes, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you.
for our listeners, you guys can stay connected with Joe. She is with the Institute of Aquatic Phobia, and she'll share her links with us, and I'll include those on the Navigating Neva website, and you can connect with her there. And as always, thank you for listening. Keep growing and learning and keep navigating. Stay safe and have zero drownings. Thank you guys. Until next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.